It does appear the clamor for regional security in Nigeria is gathering momentum now. We just heard from the Southeast governors just after their meeting. They're going ahead with a plan for regional security outfits. How do you see this playing out vis-a-vis the police authorities' plan for community policing across the country?
I think the wheels of governance are very slow, and unfortunately in Nigeria they're even much more slower. In December 2019, the Buhari administration launched the revised National Security Strategy 2019, wherein it stated clearly that community policing would be the way to go. And since then, we've seen several steps by the Nigerian police force in an attempt to implement the community's policing policy. The reality is that insecurity is a huge challenge. People are dying, properties are being destroyed. So this type of regional self-help initiatives and state-level initiatives have been there, and they are emerging, vis-a-vis this attempt by government to implement community policing. So the reality is that, unfortunately, we haven't seen a cohesive effort between the federal government and the states to tackle these issues jointly. If we recall that the states are also part of the federation, they are also expected to play a part in both security and other aspects of governance, then I think it's quite unfortunate that we're seeing this type of different approach to the same challenge that is affecting the country.
Yeah, I'd like to get your thoughts on what the Northern Elders Forum today said. They passed a vote of no confidence on the president and security, which is one of the reasons the group gave for its decision. You heard Mr. Additional there, the president's spokesperson, saying that the group is partisan and therefore not in a position to give an objective explanation, an objective opinion on what is going on. What are your thoughts on this?
Firstly, I've gone through the position of the Northern Elders Forum, and most of what they've mentioned are true. It is a fact that we have a challenge of security. It is a fact that the economy is not doing very well in the north. However, like Femi Adesina mentioned, unfortunately, the group is riddled by partisanship. Himself, Ango Abdullahi, clearly associated very well with the former PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar. The author or the person who read that statement was the chief of staff to the immediate past Senate president. So clearly he's in the camp of the opposition, the PDP. So I think that is the challenge with that statement, even though a lot of what they've said is true, but because almost all the members of that forum have one way or the other associated with the opposition, then it's not very likely that the current administration would receive that message very well. That's one. Two, I think they failed in putting forward an alternative solution. Because if you are criticizing, then I would expect you to put forward alternative recommendations, actually, that the government can look at and then take forward. Let's look at their call for the sacking or changing of the service chiefs. As a security expert, I've asked myself, the military composition, the 5 departments in the military, are just 5 out of 23 other subunits that we have under the security architecture in the country. So if you are blaming 5 for the fault of 23 as it were, I don't think that's a fair assessment. Yes, because of our military history, because of our colonial past, the military is very involved in internal security matters. But then we should not blame them for that. It is the national security architecture, the national security strategy that is faulty. Changing the service head without changing that national security architecture or national security strategy would not make any meaning. So I would have expected the Northern Elders Forum to put forward recommendations like that would tell us, Hakim Baba Ahmed as an example, is a retired civil servant, very experienced. He was the chief of staff to the Senate president, very experienced. So those type of recommendations, I think, would have been more practical and maybe would have made more meaning than just condemning, for instance, at a go blanketly the, as it were, performance of the Buhari administration.
Yeah, and everyone is looking. What's most important now is a solution, and every little helps. Mr. Adamu, Kabir Adamu, thank you again for joining us on the News at 10 tonight.